Guys, my name is Michaela and you're watching FunsizedStyle. For today's video, this is actually the second time that I've tried to film this video. The first time it was out of focus, like I went to go edit the video and I realized it was out of focus. And I've been doing pretty good about making sure that it's in focus, but last night I apparently didn't and I did not even want to edit it because I'm like, this is horrible, not up to my standards. So I'm refilming it. For today's video, I'm actually doing a health update for you guys. I would say life update, but it's pretty much just health stuff. So if this isn't your type of video, you can definitely click out. But the reason that I update you guys on that I do these videos is because I like to teach and I like to share about my life experiences in whatever capacity that might be, whether that be medically, personally, things I do for fun, and just anything. And I actually know that I have a lot of like nurses in college or working to be nurses and that are learning, and I know that because I receive comments, so that's really cool. So I like to just share my experiences of what I go through. If you don't like long videos about medical stuff, this definitely is not the video for you, so you can go ahead and click out if that's not your thing. This health update actually relates to my last, I guess it was sort of a health update, my last health related video, I guess, of informing you guys that I had gotten approved for an appointment at the world-renowned spine surgeon in the country that I was telling you guys about, because it's an approval process. You can't just like say I have scoliosis and get approved to go to him as a patient, because he pretty much only takes on severe cases of scoliosis because he realizes the challenge that it is to find good quality care and skilled doctors in such severe scoliosis patients. I don't know that for a fact. I've read some of his testimonials on their website, and some of the patients didn't have as severe scoliosis as some. I'm not sure, but from what the nurses told me and from what I've learned about him, it seems like it. I made that video to inform you guys of the appointment, and I had said that I wasn't going to say when it was, but I was going to make a video about it afterwards, after the appointment and what I found out. That's actually not this video today. I am actually informing you guys that I will not be going this time around. It was originally scheduled for December of 2019, so right before the end of the year. I was really excited about that because I wanted to get it done and over with, because as you guys know, this is kind of a last resort, last option kind of thing. I've done hours and days of research trying to find someone skilled enough to take on my case or consider taking on my case. If this is your first time viewing my channel or watching any of my health related videos, I suggest that you check out my scoliosis playlist, because I'm going to get a lot of questions of why did you wait till it got this bad to address it, and there is a reason, and there is a medical reason as to why I waited. I had actually consulted with my orthopedic surgeon here in Michigan because she is the one that is originally concerned about it, and she's a very important person in my life, and I trust her opinion 110%. She does spine surgery on patients with pretty much all types of OI, and it's been successful. She's done a couple cases, almost as severe as mine, but mine would be the most challenging she's ever done. Her method is using hardware like rods and screws, but my spine isn't strong enough for that method. If we were to even try it, I would become paralyzed because I have compression fractures in my spine. You might think that that's really painful, but I don't feel them. No, I'm not paralyzed. I just don't feel them. Like, I don't even know that they happen. I consulted with her and she was on board with it, but then when we investigated more of how severe it is in her method of fusion, she was not confident in taking on the case, and I appreciate her honesty because that's what makes a good doctor. I consulted with another spine surgeon, a neurosurgeon in Delaware at No More Children's. They basically said you're too severe and the surgery would be too risky. You'd be better off on just focusing on your respiratory and cardiac care like you're already doing. I was actually shocked to get that answer from them because from my understanding they have done as severe as mine, I think, or almost as severe. They said it was too much. I'm not quite to the point yet where I want to accept that there's no option to stop the progression. Like, I'll never have a perfectly straight spine. That's not the goal. I live an awesome life with the quality of life that I have now. And I'm just doing this to be proactive as I can so that it doesn't keep curving. Because scoliosis is a progressive condition. And unless you fuse it and stop it from curving, or at least try to, it's going to keep progressing. That's just the reality of this condition, especially with type 3 OI, because our spines are the most softest bones in our body, so it makes it very challenging. There's got to be somebody that is at least willing to look at the situation, because I've had a friend who has the exact same severity of scoliosis as me, but her spine was pressing on her heart and she had to get it operated on, or else she was gonna die. I'm not to that point whatsoever, but I don't want to get to that point, so that's why I'm trying to be proactive. I asked her like who her surgeon was that did it, because she doesn't have hardware either in her spine, and he retired, and I don't know if he's even still living. I think he is. I don't know, but he retired, and she couldn't even remember or find out from her medical record who he is. And then I was just one day watching YouTube videos and discovered this guy. It came up in my recommended, and this young man had more severe scoliosis, and his respiratory system and a few other organs were being compromised. I was like, granted he doesn't have OI, but the spine surgeon is, well, that's one of his specialties. And I was like, if he can save this young man, I'm gonna go for it too. And so I consulted with them and sent them my x-rays and all of that. And we set an appointment, and one of my closest friends, she's like an older sister to me, she's actually flying in from Colorado to take me. We had got it all set up, like her flights booked and everything, and one of the requirements of the spine surgeon in New York is to have an MRI within like the past year or 6 months or something. I don't know, but I've never had an MRI. I had originally gotten this appointment set up the last week of October or the first week of November. I don't really remember. I think it was the last week of October. I was like, shoot, like an MRI within a month is gonna be a lot. Okay, well, I didn't expect this introduction, but this is our new kitty, Max. He is requesting cuddles and is meowing at me to hold him. So until he gets down from my lap, he'll be in this video. I'm gonna do a whole video about him eventually. I wanted to make sure that we were going to keep him before I did the videos. One of the requirements is you have to get an MRI, and I've never had that. And I called like when they got all my records, like back in October, I think, or the last week of October, and called to schedule the appointment. They were like, can you come in next week? And I was like, I live out of state. I need time to plan, book flights, and my friend from Colorado is flying in to take me, and she needs to get time off work. There was just a lot of planning that went into this, so I was like, I need more time. I don't really know not what the urgency was, but I guess somebody had canceled or something, because even still, they were booking not as far out as I thought they were going to. I was like, how about December, because I need time to plan. I cannot coordinate all of this in time. Part of the reason I knew that it was going to take a long time to coordinate was the MRI, because I need it with general anesthesia. And I'll get to the why of that soon. A month, maybe I could swing it. Well, I called my orthopedic surgeon here and told her that I need an MRI in order for an MRI, and she was like, okay, no problem. But I was like, I need it by the last week of November to get the results in time for December 4th. That I'm telling you guys the date because I'm not going anymore. She was like, oh boy. She put a rush on it, and even with a rush, they were still scheduling out 3 weeks because of, I don't know, just demand or whatever. But they were like, it's cold and flu season, it could be in your favor, call every day for a cancellation, and they'll probably have something. At this point, I was like, okay, I didn't have high hopes or high expectations that would happen, but I did it. And I called every single day, and no cancellations. And at this point, one of the things I had also looked into for this trip was Miracle Flights. Miracle Flights is an organization that helps pay for children or adults to go out of state for medical care, whether that be follow-up, surgery, appointments, second opinions, anything. And there's obviously income qualifications or requirements that you have to meet. It's dependent on household size. My parents don't help with medical bills, which is fine. It just means that I don't qualify for much, even though I am basically income-wise considered a household of one. I talked to this lady, and the sounds of it, I qualify. I had made about 15 calls because I had to get letters of confirmation of my appointment, letters stating why I need somebody to go with me, like if I was able to travel independently, which I'm not, if not why, so I had to get information, and my friend had to sign a form of liability as well, so I had to mail that out to her in Colorado. It just took a lot of time. I spent getting everything for this Miracle Flight application, only to get denied. I had actually found out about the Miracle Flight denial before I realized that I wasn't going to get my MRI in time. Because at this point, when I had gotten the Miracle Flight denial, I still had time to get the MRI in time. It would have just been a nice help. Now that it's later, like 3 months later, I'll have a lot more time to look for cheap flights. So if you guys know of anyone that works for an airline or knows any tips on how to get cheap flights, that would be really helpful, because I can get them now since I have time, and they won't be as expensive because I have time. It would have just been a nice help because I have to pay so much for the consultation, which I revealed the price of the consultation in the last video about this. It's a lot. To me, it's worth it because it could help me in the long run. I'm so sorry if you're gonna hear this little guy purring. It's kind of distracting, but he's really cute. He's technically supposed to be my mom's cat, but I feel really bad because he's taken more to me. And I feel really bad about that, but I can't help it. He loves me. I just made so many calls, and I was looking at my caller ID and my recent calls because I have an iPhone, and I made about 15, 16 calls, probably like almost 20 calls, coordinating this Miracle Flight application and making sure I have all the information to submit. When I got denied, I was like, holy shoot, like these flights are gonna be expensive now. I would have done it, but I just didn't get the MRI in time. That's a requirement of the surgeon, like I said, because MRIs show like the condition of your spine better than an x-ray, and it better show like whether my spine is operable or not. They want to do everything like the best, most precise way to get the information that they need to know if this is a viable decision or not. So it just wasn't meant to be. I did everything in my power to make this work. I made so many calls, coordinated so many things. My friend, like I said, she's like an older sister to me. We're like sisters. She got the time off work. I booked her flights back home because that's the least I could do for what she has done for me and is doing for me. I just couldn't get the MRI in time. I'm unable to go to the appointment on December 4th. Most people would be excited that they get to wait a little while longer for a not so fun appointment. This is a last resort option. So if he says like, Michaela, like there's no way for me to fuse your spine without hardware, I just don't do that, or I don't know of anyone that does that, that'll be it, because I have truly exhausted all the known options, and I've talked to so many people about their experiences. Max, I'm not picking you up again because I just did a second time and you hopped right down, so I'm not picking you up again. That's why I wanted to get it done, because I could be faced with the reality. This is it, and there's nothing for me, and he doesn't know of anyone that could provide for me, or I could be faced with the reality that he says like this is really risky, but it's more risky to not do anything, and you need to have this done for your life ahead. It's been hanging over my head for a month. The other thing is like I just made so many calls to coordinate this, and actually a hospital, a hotel right next to the hospital, I messaged them and told them my situation, and they were providing us a complimentary stay, so I need to email her back and be like, we need to reschedule. It was really sweet of them to do that. And so I just made all these arrangements, or at least tried to, but the bottom line is it wasn't meant to be. Honest with you guys, like it was really frustrating to realize that, because I, like I said, have been wanting this for so long, and there's a possibility that he could help me. Like I told you guys in the last video about this, they already gave me a heads up that he said he may not be able to help me. It just depends. There's a lot of things we have to consider first, but they just gave me a heads up that because of the severity of your situation, he does not know if he can operate on you or not. And I fully expected that. Whatever the outcome, I don't expect this to be a wasted trip, because I'll have the answer that I was gonna say answer that I want, but if he can't help me, it won't be the answer that I want. That is the biggest thing that I wanted to update you guys on, because like I said, I wasn't going to say the date, and I'm still not going to for the next appointment. I rescheduled for March because the rest of the December, I actually got a call that somebody canceled on December 17th. My friend work because she had requested those other days off, and she has to work because it's close to Christmas. There weren't any coworkers willing to switch, and so not only that, that also showed me like, hey, there's a cancellation for a date in December, and I still can't go. So it is not God's will for me to go before the end of the year, and that was really hard to accept because, like I said, it's been hanging over my head for so long. Well, not for so long, like a month or two since I've discovered him, and then like a month since I've had the appointment. So it's been hanging over my head for a long time because it's going to be the most nerve-wracking appointment I've ever had. Like, you know, the morning of, I'm going to be sick to my stomach because this is a huge deal because it's the last resort. That's what makes this a big deal. It's not like after this, like, oh, I have another option. Like, there's no other options at this point. We rescheduled for March, and so I'm keeping an eye out for flights. I'm using a Hopper to tell me, like, when I should book. No, this isn't sponsored. Using that app to tell me when I should book. Sarah already got those 3 days off of work for us to travel, so it worked out then, and I'll have my MRI done by then. I'll get the results this week, I think. I don't know. I'll have the CD to take with me. At that time, everything should be set up at that point and good for me to go because I'll have everything set. And even though I was like sad and really disappointed and couldn't understand why God was allowing this denial of Miracle Flight, allowing me to go on December 4th so that it would be done and over with and off my mind, it just wasn't meant to be. He's always for me and never against me, and there's a reason and there's a plan and a purpose for all these trials I've gone through this month and all the literally 30 plus phone calls that I've made to coordinate this trip. There's a reason that all of this didn't work out. I don't know what the reason is. I don't know what God has protected me from, but there's a reason because every time I've been disappointed or sad or gone through a difficult time, everything has always worked out because some of the biggest challenges in my life have led to the biggest blessings. And so I have no doubt that this is one of those moments, but God gives me grace and knows that I'm human and it's okay for me to be sad for a while, and it's okay for me to be sad and disappointed for a while, but the important thing is that I don't dwell on it. I'm past the point of like dwelling on it now, and I still am a little bit sad, especially as it gets closer to the date that we were supposed to go, knowing that it could have been done and over with by then, but I've just been clinging to the verse Isaiah 60:22, and it is, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. I just cling to that verse lately because it's no like coincidence that I read that in this time, that I happened to come across that verse at that time, because it's perfect for this season that I'm in right now. I just cling to that verse. Isaiah 60:22. I highly recommend you read it and you write it down. It's the screensaver on my phone. You can plan all you want and make the best decisions but ultimately, like, it's not meant to be, and there's something that God needs to protect you from, or something that God has better for you. Like, if it's not meant to be, you eventually have to accept that, and it's sometimes hard to understand. And even as a young woman of incredibly strong faith, because I've seen His work every day, sometimes I get disappointed, like, I don't understand, but our human brain isn't made to understand God's reasoning sometimes or right away. But everything that I have gone through that's been challenging or disappointing at the time has led to something better than I could have ever designed, better than I could have ever planned. So I know that this is one of those instances. I tell you guys the story of, I had my tympanomastoidectomy surgery in May. I originally had it scheduled in April, and I was really disappointed because I had gotten super sick. I couldn't have the surgery, and I was so sad. I was so upset because the day that it was scheduled, like, it was so perfect in my eyes of what I had coming up. I had time to recover and all of this, and in my eyes it was a perfect timing, so I couldn't understand why God didn't think it was perfect timing either. But then on the day of the surgery, like, it literally could not have went better. I felt great. I had an amazing anesthesiologist team, and it was probably one of the best anesthesia teams I'd ever had. My surgeon was amazing. I just love her. She's awesome, and everything went smooth with the surgery. I didn't experience any of the risks. Some of the risks of the surgery are dizziness and temporary or permanent facial paralysis. It's very rare, but it can happen. And you can also lose your sense of taste, either permanently or temporarily. And I did not experience any of the risks, but the surgery that I had to be done, or else I was going to have permanent damage either way. So it was one of those things where the surgery outweighed the risk. My orthopedic surgeon only does surgeries on certain days of the week, and the surgeon that I had surgery with, my otolaryngologist, that they happened to fall on the same day for once, which is very rare. And they didn't ask me. Well, I told them before I fell asleep. I talked about this in my video too, so I don't know why I'm repeating this, but I told them when I fell asleep, before I fell asleep, that, you know, just be very careful when transferring me onto the operating table. This is how I am typically lifted, and I like demonstrated like with my hands of like where to lift. And so they were like, all right, we got it, like that's perfect. Thank you so much for telling us, because we want you to be in the best hands. And my otolaryngologist is actually very familiar with osteogenesis imperfecta, and because hearing issues or hearing loss is a potential effect of OI. My cause of hearing loss is actually not really related to my OI. And if you want to learn how or why, check out my hearing loss playlist. So she's very familiar with OI and totally understands it. Every person with OI is so different on how they're lifted or handled, so I just wanted to make them fully aware. I was told when I woke up that I made everyone, like the anesthesiologist and everything, so nervous after I told them that, and I was like so sweet about it. Like I didn't mean to make them nervous, but at the same time, like I like when they're nervous. They were like, what do we do? Like we're too nervous to move Michaela. At that point, I'm like already sleeping. They were like, what do we do? So they like looked on my list of doctors or something in Ann Arbor that were, see if any of them were around at the hospital. It's like really familiar with me, and my orthopedic surgeon who specializes and researches in OI was in the operating room directly next to us. And I don't know if she was in the middle of a surgery, had just finished up one. I think she might have been in the middle of one. I don't know, but I literally called her over and we're like, hey, we have Michaela Daber in the operating room next to you. Can you help us and teach us how to maneuver her safely onto the operating table and how to maneuver her so that we don't break her neck? Because I was already intubated at this point. Absolutely. And it worked out because after they called, she remembered that I was having the surgery, because the day before my surgery, or like 2 days before, is when I had done the presentation with my orthopedic surgeon. And she was like, how are you doing health-wise? What, do you have anything going on? And I just told her about the surgery because she asked how I was doing health-wise. And she was like, oh, okay, like, I'll see you then because I'll be in the OR. And like, I just didn't think of it because she was going to be there, but I didn't know she was going to be helping with my surgery. So she was like, absolutely. And so they showed her, or she showed them, and they were like, oh my gosh, that's so easy, like, thank you so much for showing us. And she was like, absolutely. And I guess they like started talking for a while, how, you know, about my story, I don't know. So that was so cool, and just everything aligned better than I could have ever imagined, and it was just awesome. And so if you want to learn more about that and how the disappointment of that for me led to something even better than I could have ever planned out, I just have faith that this will be the same thing. I don't know what it is yet, and I'm in anticipation of that and still don't understand why, because it hasn't been revealed to me yet. But I know, and I have faith and trust that it eventually will, and His perfect timing. And I think as Christians, we are ashamed to be sad and disappointed, especially me, because I'm like, I don't understand why I'm sad and disappointed, because I have experienced disappointment, and then, like I said, every one of my biggest challenges has led to the best opportunity. I've seen that, and it's something that God could only provide for me because of how perfect and amazing it is. So I don't understand why my brain gets like that, and I still don't understand. But again, it's part of the human brain, and we just don't think straight sometimes, and we're caught in the moment, and we're stuck in, you know, hey God, I had this planned, and it was perfect, I had everything lined up, and I had thought about all these details, but ultimately we are not our own planner of our life, and that is God's will. Whether you believe in God or not is up to you. He gives you the free will to do so. I guarantee you that you have a plan, and that He has a plan and a purpose for whatever you're dealing with in your life. And so that's truly how I'm getting through this disappointment. That's the huge thing, and they were totally cool with me rescheduling and totally understood, and were really cool about it. It's rescheduled in March, and so I have to contact the hotel that's giving us the complimentary stay to see if they can be willing to reschedule that. Now I can look for a flight, and a more affordable flight. And so I think in the long run it will it won't be so rush. But in the same token, like, I wanted it done and out of my brain, but it just wasn't meant to be, and I have to accept that. I would say I have, but I still catch myself being a little bit sad, especially as it comes closer to the day, like I said. But I know that God gives me grace because he knows that I really do know the answer. With that said, I won't have an answer until March about what the next step is. I won't have an answer for you guys, obviously, but I will keep you posted. My MRI date is this coming week after Thanksgiving. I have my friend that is coming with me to New York for this appointment. We're still keeping her flights because she still wants to fly home and see me, and we've never lived near each other. I met her through Trails Edge Camp, the camp I talk about, that I was a part of. She lives in Ann Arbor. We still don't see each other as much. Now that she moves out to Colorado, we don't see each other but a few times a year. And it's really hard, but I'm so happy for her because she's literally living in her dream state, at her dream job. I'm just really happy for her. She still wants to fly home and see me, and going back to why I need general anesthesia for the MRI. If I didn't need general anesthesia for the MRI, I would have had no problem getting it. I could have gotten it like the next day that I wanted it. It would have been fine and we could have went. But it's just not a viable option. For me, I have really bad anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder. There's really no trigger. One of my main I shouldn't say there's no main triggers, but the only trigger that I can really pinpoint is, I don't know if it's like PTSD, but I hate laying on testing tables like X-ray or MRI or CT scans tables. I hate it. Like, I literally start like involuntarily shaking, like I'm gonna literally fall off the table. Like, that's how much I start shaking. And it's so embarrassing. I don't like talking about it, so we're just not gonna talk about it anymore. But that is why. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it's like PTSD from when I was younger, because I've had so many fractures and x-rays, and I knew like when I fractured I'd have to lay on that table. But even when I was like young, I always hated it. So it's not like a PTSD thing, because I've always hated it from like the first time I had a fracture. They don't know what causes that for me. I definitely have like some kind of chemical imbalance in my brain because of how bad it is for a task so simple. But other than that, I don't know why I have generalized anxiety disorder. I have a chemical imbalance in my brain, but that causes it, but I don't know how it started. I don't know. So it's physically impossible for me to do the MRI while I'm awake, because it's not, like I said, it's not claustrophobia for me. Like, I love flying, and people who have claustrophobia usually don't, and I love flying, and so I don't think it's claustrophobia, it's just the anxiety thing. It's one of my main triggers. It's one of the only triggers. Everything else, I don't know, I just have these panic attacks that just come on sometimes. I don't get them as much as I used to because I'm on medication, so it's very much well managed. I don't think you should be ashamed of it, but it's just something that I don't like talking about. I guess mental health issue is a lot difficult to deal with than a physical disability, in my opinion, and I can tell you that because I have both. I don't have depression. I've never experienced depression, so I know a lot of people that say they have anxiety. A lot of people ask like, oh, do you have depression too? Because they assume that it goes hand in hand. It doesn't always go hand in hand. I've never experienced depression ever in my life. I can't answer any experiences about depression or what it's like, because I don't know. I've never had that, so I'm very grateful for that. But that's why I can't, because in an MRI, you have to be completely still, like a statue, and like I would literally just like die in there. Like, I would start hyperventilating. I can do x-rays awake, obviously, but just because they're snappy snap quick. The spine MRI will take a minimum of an hour. It's really embarrassing, but my surgeon here that ordered it in Ann Arbor totally gets my anxiety. She understands that and gives me grace for that. So she had no problems ordering it with general anesthesia, because I've never had any issues with general anesthesia. Never, not once, not any reaction, nothing. Because of that, anything with anesthesia, unless it's a dire emergency, is scheduled out like 3 months, at least at this hospital. The MRIs are scheduled out 3 months with general anesthesia, so that's why it's so long. So for me to get in within 2.5, 3 weeks is really good, but it just didn't match up with being able to go on the trip. The other thing too that I was telling you about, my friend that's taking me to New York in March and was planning on it, I had bought her flights home to come with me and like meet me at the Detroit Metro Airport. We would fly out together, and like I said, I can't travel by myself. She still wants to come home and see me, and she wants to be at my MRI and support me. And I asked another friend before I knew she was still coming home, to be my medical advocate on the day of my MRI, because I need general anesthesia, and I believe that, you guys know I'm my own advocate, but when you go under general anesthesia, I think it's important to have a medical advocate with you, because like I said, I've never had any issues with general anesthesia, never. It's always good to be prepared. Gosh forbid there was an issue and I wasn't able to speak on my like I wasn't able to speak for myself. And this hospital that I go to is amazing. I've only had like 2 or 3 bad apples out of the, not hundreds, but dozens of times that I've been there. Like the one time that I had a horrible experience was like I was crying out for air after a surgery because I always have to wear my BiPAP when I wake up from anesthesia to give my lungs a boost. And I was crying out for air. I'd woken up and it was still on, but then like 5 minutes after I woke up, the nurse had taken it off of me, and he's like, "You're good now, your oxygen levels are fine." And for me, it's not about the oxygen levels. It's not that my oxygen levels dip necessarily, but that doesn't mean I still need it because my lungs have to work so hard to breathe. And this was a really long surgery. It was like 5 hours or 5.5. Like I was intubated for a long time. It was crazy. So I still have some vlogs up from that. I think I can link them down below, but if I forget, you can go to my vlog channel. It's kind of been abandoned, but hopefully someday I'll upload on that again. And I was like crying out for air, saying like, "No, you don't understand. Like I still need it, and here's why." I was awake and coherent at this point, crying out for air that I was struggling to breathe, and he still didn't. But like I said, I'm the patient, and he still didn't take my word. So thankfully, my mom was there, and she like grabbed it from him and said, "You need to put this on now, or I'm getting somebody down here now to get this taken care of because my daughter should not have to cry out for air at like a top-rated hospital." That was like probably the worst experience we've had. And there's been a few like 2 to 3 other probably like 2 or 3 other small things happen. I've been there a lot, but those not even 5 bad experiences out of the dozens of times I've been there and had surgeries is really good. But even at the top-rated hospital, you can get a bad apple, and not everybody that works in the medical field should. I'm just being honest with you guys. Not everybody is fit for the field, even though they think they are. They're not. And I can tell you that from my patient's experience. So even then, I realized how, like my mom was always med at my surgeries, but even then I realized like the importance of, no matter if I'm awake and coherent or not, they're not always, a nurse isn't always going to believe me about my situation. That's pretty scary when like they won't even believe me as a patient. And like I said, it's never happened after that. I did file a complaint and things like that. It got taken care of. Don't know if that person is still there, but I don't know. I never had another issue like that since, and I've had quite a few surgeries since then. From that point forward, I realized no matter how old I am, it's important for me to have a medical advocate with me because that understands the system and what is required and what is expected. Even if you're awake and coherent, the medical professional may not even listen to the patient. He listened to my mom over me, even though I was an adult at this point, and yeah, and I could speak. But my mom actually is not able to be present this coming week at this thing, at the MRI, and so I asked my friend Sarah, who is coming, like she offered to come too. Before I knew that she was coming, I asked my friend Morgan. They're both actually nurses. We met through the camp again. Like basically all my friends work in the medical field because the only friends that I have pretty much are from this camp. So that works out really well. She's an excellent person. We went to New York together, and Sarah and I have traveled together too. They're just like some of my favorite gals, and I'm just so blessed with the amazing friends that I have. And I asked her, I said like, "Hey, if I give you my medical list of like allergies and medical conditions and medications I take, can you be my medical advocate?" Because we don't have family that would step up to the plate. We don't have family that would do that, and my mom isn't able to be present, and my dad is not a medical advocate. It's not a bad thing. Everybody has their thing that they're willing to do for somebody and not willing, and he just doesn't do that. So I need somebody. I have signed those two to be my medical advocate. So gosh forbid I was unable to speak for myself, or even if I am, and the nurse or whoever it is doesn't believe what my needs are, they can back me up and make decisions on my behalf. I fully entrust my life with them, and they're 2 very special gals in my life. And it really spoke volumes to me about their character and who they are as friends, and just I already knew how awesome they are, but that really spoke volumes to me because to step up and be somebody's medical advocate is huge. And I've never had an issue, and that's also why I felt comfortable asking them about this, and also because it's not a surgery. I'm not being cut open, so it'll go fine, but no matter what, how minor the procedure is, it's just good to be prepared for the outcome, no matter what. I'm actually excited for my MRI. I'm not excited for the procedure, but I'm excited to see them and have them by my side, and it's just really cool, and I just feel so loved throughout this process, and it made me realize like truly how loved I am by the people around me. And even though I don't have family that would step up, I have friends, and to me they're family. It's just awesome and I can't wait to see them. So I'm actually excited to go to my MRI. Sounds terrible, but I guess maybe I'm just an optimistic person, and even though I have to have an MRI, I get to see two of my closest friends, and they're like older sisters to me. You'll see them. We're going to be taking a picture together, and I was going to say pre-op, but I'm not going in the operating room, so like pre-MRI. I don't know how this works. I've never had general anesthesia, not in an operating room. So grateful for them and their willingness. They didn't even think twice about it. Like I asked them, I was like, are you sure? Like I don't want to feel like you have to do this just because we're super close. Like we're technically sisters. And they were like, nope, like that's what friends are for. We want to be there to support you. Just let me know what time and I'll be there. We haven't seen I haven't seen Morgan since New York, and I haven't seen Sarah since camp. So when we both volunteered at Trails Edge Camp in June. Very excited to see those gals. Like, won't let you know the results. I got it for the surgeon in New York, so that'll be done though for when the time comes. On the same day, I'm also having a CT scan. I was gonna say of my head, but it's of my ear. As you guys know, I was talking about my tympanomastoidectomy surgery, and it actually was not as successful as we had hoped. I have still had one infection since surgery and still symptoms. The pain has gotten worse over the past few weeks, and it's been ongoing. I went to my otolaryngologist for a follow-up, and she couldn't see anything physically, so that's why she's wondering if there's a deeper issue, which I never hope anything's wrong with me, but at this point the pain has gotten so bad that I hope something shows up on the scan, or I don't know what to do. People don't realize this, but my pain tolerance is like insane. I realize like everybody's pain tolerance is so different, and I realize like when somebody around me tells me they're in pain, I'm like, wow, like that's so interesting that they're in that much pain from that. Like that to me is like a 1, but for them it's like a 10. My pain tolerance is like max, pretty much. I mean, like I still take pain medications when I've had like osteotomies, but I do not like to take it unless I'm in a crap ton of pain. I have actually contemplated in going to the Ann Arbor ER a couple times this past week because of how bad it's gotten, but I haven't gone, obviously, or you guys would have known about it. There's nothing they can do until like the CT scan, and then if something urgent shows up on the scan that needs to be taken care of, like now, they'll tell me because they'll review it before my doctor does. My doctor's like, I'm not giving up on you, like we are gonna figure this out. It's just weird, like the surgery was a pretty big surgery, and I had my head cut open basically. My ear like twisted around and put it back on basically, and didn't help the symptoms that I was having, or that I'm having, and I should be totally symptom free at this point, not getting worse. Because of that, I have not worn my hearing aid since the first day that I got, or the first week that I've gotten it, which was about 4 months ago now, almost 3.5 months ago, so we don't know what's going on. We think it's either something with the bone, or maybe some infection has gone just so deep into the bone that the remaining bones in my ear that we can't see it. So a CT scan will show that to us. I don't know what it could be. She doesn't really know either, which is the purpose of the CT scan. But for me to contemplate going to the ER in Ann Arbor over ear pain, I don't think you guys understand how bad it gets sometimes because my pain tolerance is really high. I haven't gone because there's nothing they can do, and I've seen so many otolaryngologists there, and these two that work together for me are the only ones that the otolaryngologist that did my septoplasty and turbinate reduction, she helped me there, and then this one for my ear problems, like they're the only two that have helped me out of all the ones I've seen in that department, so I don't trust anybody else. It's just weird saying like, I hope something shows up. Like, I hope something is wrong with me. Because if nothing shows on the scan, like, we don't know what could be going on. And I just need this result. It's weird. It comes on suddenly sometimes. Like, it's a pretty sharp pain. Like, it revs up at night. And there's no active infection, like, where she could see. Because I was just there. So if you guys have ever had, especially those that have had a tympanomastoidectomy or just a mastoidectomy, and you've had ear pain almost a year later, unknowingly or for unknown reasons, let me know what you found out. Like if you have crazy intense ear pain without infection, let me know what it ended up being, because I'm a little bit nervous, but my team is amazing and they'll get it figured out. But I just want to let you guys know that I will be updating on the result of that scan unless they find something that needs to be taken care of that day. Then I'll just go immediately right into surgery since I'd be in PO. I highly doubt they're gonna find anything that's going to need to be having emergency surgery or something that like my doctor needs to know about. Like at that instance, it mainly revs up at night. Like I can feel it right now, but it's not as bad as it gets like at night, like late into the night. I don't know, just keep me and my team in your prayers so they can find answers to this, because whenever I know something isn't right, like I'm literally always right. Like I know my body so well. And so this is weird. It's weird that it's getting worse, not better. But they can't see anything physically. So that's what's really puzzling them, is because it's getting worse, but they can't see what is getting worse. So it's weird, it's frustrating. I don't know. I have a lot going on. It's just I've made so many phone calls, and it's like I'm hitting a brick wall, not getting productive, not getting things done, but it's just not in God's timing right now. So I'm eager to get the CT scan results and the MRI done, because it'll be 2 major steps done in figuring out some of this. It's just been a really difficult season in my life, I'm not gonna lie. And also, like, I've been inside for almost 2 weeks because I have to stay healthy for this MRI, because I'm going under general anesthesia and it's cold and flu season right now. So like, I have not went anywhere, because even though I'm not going to New York now until March, they're scheduling out the MRIs with anesthesia until January now. The weather here is just too predictable and unpredictable, and we live so far from the hospital that like it just, if we get a bad snowstorm, like we just wouldn't be able to go. Rescheduling that is not an option, so I have full faith that it will be done on December 3rd. But that's why I'm staying inside, because I cannot get sick. It's not an option. And everybody and their mother goes out when they don't feel well, so they don't think about it and how inconsiderate it is to those who have crappy immune systems like me, but it's fine. And college has been crazy, so I just had so many details to manage in my life, and it's just been very emotional and stressful. I can't believe my acne isn't worse right now with all the stress I've been under. It's been a very difficult season, but hopefully it will end soon. And just some other details that I've had to work out, small details that are just so frustrating. It just feels like everybody's pushing me around and I'm not getting things done. So hopefully I'll be getting some things in my life figured out that have needed to be figured out for a while now. I'm sorry, I think this is probably the longest video on my channel. Well, the osteogenesis imperfecta Q&A was an hour and 10 minutes. So I don't think I've talked for an hour and 10 minutes. I know this was really long. I know I covered a lot. I hope this video was encouraging. Well, I mean, maybe it's encouraging. My outlook maybe, but just know that I get sad and disappointed too, because I know you guys say how happy I am all the time. I get sad and disappointed and frustrated too. I'm human. I'm not perfect. I go through hard things, and we all go through hard things. It's just part of life. There's also a lot of awesome things that I just love the life that I live. Even despite these hard things, I'm realizing all the blessings that it's given me through these hard times, like good friends to be there with me, and it just speaks volumes. I hope this was educational maybe. If you guys have any other questions about anything that I mentioned, or maybe left out, I feel like I'm forgetting something. If you guys have anything to add about anything I asked about, or needed suggestions on, please leave them in comments below. My comments have kind of been weird lately with YouTube trying to figure out the new rules. Sometimes they get turned off, but then I'm able to turn them back on. So leave me an Instagram message if it's something that I should really know about. Yeah, that's it for this video. I'll catch you guys in my next video. College has been super crazy too, so thank you for giving me grace on that. It's been hard, but I'm getting through it with A's, and hope to be uploading more consistently very soon. Yeah, life is just a wild roller coaster of emotions. We're getting through it, and I miss you guys, and I love doing this and sharing my life story with you guys and what God is doing in my life. I'll catch you guys in my next video, a much more uplifting video. Bye guys.